So I feel like we've all known somebody who was stuck in a toxic situation that they just couldn't seem to get themselves out of. Could be with a family member, a partner, a job. Honestly, we can sometimes be the person in the toxic situation, but for the sake of this video, we're just gonna talk about a friend because I don't want to put nobody on the spot. And for the sake of this video, let's say that the toxic relationship has benefit. Maybe it's a lover who has a lot of status, a family member who they want an inheritance from, or a job that just pays really, really well. There is some kind of benefit to this person. But you look at your friend and they are just too dope to be putting up with as much stuff as they put up with. This person doesn't respect your friend. This person makes your friend feel like they need to change every single thing about them, takes all your friend's ideas and the credit for the ideas, and doesn't give your friend any sort of like appreciation. Now, sometimes right when your friend is about to leave the situation, this toxic person might decide to do the bare minimum just to keep your friend around. But the toxic person is feeding off of your friend's insecurity and knows that your friend doesn't value themselves, right? And your friend feels like there's still so many benefits and resources that this person or situation has, they don't feel like they can leave just yet. And it's like, even though you know that your friend is dope, you also know that the reason that your friend keeps being played with and taken advantage of, as much as you love them, you know it's because they do not have good boundaries. They honestly haven't established how they would like to be treated, and they aren't willing to walk away in order to establish those boundaries. That is exactly how I feel about the Black community. I feel like we are in an extremely toxic relationship with white supremacy, right? I even feel like to say white supremacy is like literally saying that we are inferior. Now, has history made us feel like that? Absolutely. Is it easy to just completely ignore white supremacy? Not at all. Just like in the analogy with the friend, right? Where the situation that she's in has benefits. Staying complicit to white supremacy has benefits. For instance, when we say, we deserve to be in these spaces, we deserve a seat at these tables, we're asking for white supremacy to accept us. And what we could do is build our own tables and never have to ask them to accept us ever again. Now, the table that white supremacy has been established, has been around for so long, they probably have a nice marble table, right? With a glass panel on top. It's real fancy. We might have to start off with like a little plastic table from the Dollar Tree that you pull out those 4 legs with, right? So I understand it definitely won't be as comfortable to make that transition. 9 times out of 10, the person who's benefiting from our friend's insecurity has all the resources because our friend will not leave. Our friend is probably the one making them the money or giving them the ideas, right? We are doing the exact same thing. And even when we beg to be in these spaces or we beg for representation, we're kind of begging to be exploited, honestly, because we could really work our way up to having our own production companies, our own movie theaters, our own crew, all that stuff. And it might take some time and it might not be that easy. But people don't get to where they are overnight anyways. The system that we hate didn't get to where it was overnight. They did some shoddy stuff, and maybe we shouldn't do that, but it was work for them too. Our friend is so awesome, right? Our friend is really talented. You don't hang out with just anybody, right? And it goes the same way for this person who's exploiting your friend. This person is exploiting your friend because there's something in your friend. Your friend isn't just a run-of-the-mill type of person. In fact, the person who's exploiting your friend sees more value in your friend than they see in themselves. The Black community is the exact same way. And so then what do, right? Because your friend has to see this on their own. You can't force your friend to leave this situation. And if you try to, you're going to ruin that relationship with your friend, because right now your friend just needs you to be there, right? But at the same time, if you really love someone, are you just going to like not ever say anything and allow them to destroy themselves? Or do you just try to do what you can to be there for them and encourage them to know that they are capable of doing the right thing, even when it's uncomfortable? As an activist, as the friend of the friend in the toxic situation, that's something I struggle with all the time. Do we just stay silent and allow these things to happen? Or do we gently and lovingly encourage them to see their worth, to see that there are solutions that they can do to get out of this toxic situation? I don't know. What would y'all do? And this is coming from somebody who has been that person, right? Who's been that friend who, what can I do? What can I do? And everybody's like, look, I love you, but I love you too much to watch you continue to do this to yourself, right? And so now I'm on the other side of that, trying to be a good friend. You know, nobody needs a judgmental, nobody needs a overly harsh, overly critical friend, and sometimes friends can be that way. Sometimes as an activist, I have certainly been that way. It all kind of comes back to, how can we be a good friend while still loving our friend enough to let them know that there's more that they can do to change their situation?